Assalamu alaikum girls. How are you? The topic is very simple, and the thing is for me to explain a lot to you, but a child philosophy is there, a complete understanding is there. My topic is 2 types of work. Definitely, whenever you take a human being, the adult and children are in the relation of love with each other. Every adult, every member of the family is accepting that I love my child, I love my fiancé. Oh, sorry, I love my It's true, that comes from within, you can't stop it. Well, I was in my past, okay. So what the thing is this, that you all are in the relation of love, but even after holding all that feelings within you, why there is a clash, conflict among the child? Why every time the adult attempt to make the child passive from their surrounding? Why every time the adult attempt to make the child passive from their surrounding? Isko hatao, isko hatao, isko hatao. है ना? For what this conflict is going on, this war is going on? For what? What he is doing? Why you feel the presence of not here and there? Why you feel like that he should not be here? Why? इसको हटा दो, जल्दी से इसको पकड़ लो. Because you don't want him to touch. You feel that he is a source of distraction, disturbance. He is going to waste your time. And why? Why? If he is standing there and only watching you, and you know it, he is not going to do more than this except watching, you never ask him to remove from this place. He is start doing an activity with you. He is start putting his hand, involving his hand, the sort of activity you are doing, and you don't like this. No matter how much you are in love with the child. Because not that you don't like, in the sense that the child, you feels that instead of helping you, the child is going to integrate the problems. He create a mess in the surrounding. ये किसकी feelings है? Whose feeling is this? Adult feeling. I'm talking about that. हम इस ज़हन से सोच रहे हैं. I'm talking about your and my feelings. And this is the reason we become scary. We don't want him to be in surrounding. But actually, what is the thinking of the child? Is he really want to create a mess? No. His feeling is not to disturb you. He don't want to bring any problems in your life. He's so soft, he's so cute. He's in the relation of love all the time. Actually, when adult is working, they have a result in front of them. They want to construct something for this social life. They have understanding of the social life. They have understanding of civilization. And they are working for any particular purpose. Direct working, like suppose if they are hammering. So they have aim, they have something in the mind why that I am hammering. And they are hammering in a very neat, tidy way, in a very proper way. But when the child is doing the same act, definitely he is not able to do like you, like me. And instead of doing the things like you, he may create some problem for him, for you. May injure himself or make the wall untidy or something like that. A man is working for civilization, for the social life. He has a purpose in his mind and he is focusing towards that direct thing, and he is completely doing that task only. A minimum time, a maximum energy, and a least energy. With the least energy, a minimum time, a maximum work, with the expenditure of least energy. This is the motive. दिस इज द एम ऑफ यू कि कम से कम टाइम में मैं ज्यादा से ज्यादा काम कर लूं और कम से कम एनर्जी को इन्वेस्ट करते हुए। अब यहां पर क्या आता है कि ही इज देयर टू, जो बच्चा है यहां पर वो मेरी एनर्जी ज्यादा खर्च करवाएगा। ही इज गोइंग टू क्रिएट अ मैस, ही इज गोइंग टू क्रिएट अ प्रॉब्लम। देखिए, दिस इज वेरी स्मॉल थिंग एज आई टोल्ड यू इन बिफोर ऑफ that hardly we people are focusing these things in daily routine, and simply we just announce कि इसको ले जाओ यहां से, and this hurts a lot. This brings a lots of deviation in the personality of the child, because this is the distraction, that is the obstacle. आप उसको रोकते हो किसी भी काम, and what is more there in the child, a sensitive period. What sensitive period he has within him? Imitation. He wants to imitate like you. He wants to do work like you. And we adults forget that he is also a worker. वो भी काम कर रहा है. And for what he is working? वो क्यों काम कर रहा है? He is also a worker and he is also a producer. And what he will produce? A man. He will produce a man. The result is not in fact in front of him that why I am doing this, but he is constructing a man. For that he is struggling all that thing. For that he is doing all that thing. Allah has given a sort of sensitivity to him that he always repeats an action same like an adult, that the nature develops, that as already meant there, that the nature command him to do exactly like human being as per their own species. So the child belongs to our species. He is going to start connecting in his every moment of the life like us. Automatically, वो connection कोई वो खुद नहीं बना रहा, that within them, that has there already, and he is acting, he is doing every task like you and me because he is constructing a man. What is main aim? What is his main what? And सबसे बड़ी बात, that he not know for what I am doing. He mainly not know the result. He mainly not know the purpose. That why I am doing same like you, mummy? Why I want to wash the dish? Why I want to do the hammering same like you? Why I want to hold the cupboard same like you? He is doing same like you because he will be same as you in future. So his main task is to produce a man, and for that producing, Allah has given him that tendency to repeat all actions same like him. That comes from within. All powers are there within him, the child. He is not doing anything which is not mentioned by nature. Allah, nature उसको mention कर रही है कि you have to follow this, you have to do like this. This is the reason the adult want him passive, and nature want him active. Adult want him passive and the nature want him active, because the movement is the life. He learns through his movement. He manipulates everything. The sixth theory of Dr. Maria Montessori is learning. What is the sixth theory of Dr. Maria Montessori? Can anybody tell me? The sixth theory of learning by connecting. Is that? So he is learning the things, and he is definitely not in the phase to do action same like you. But he is integrating, he is multiplying, and that the two power is their imagination, and that leads towards the abstraction. What you are showing to the child, his imagination based on it. You need to understand the child. You need to provide an environment to the child through which he is able to produce a better man. Thank you.
Also, there are two types of people living on the world, the adult and the child. Both are doing their work, but there is always some conflict between both. Whatever the adult wants, he will do in his way. And child is just like a smooth lake. The example she gives, that if you have seen a lake, it is very peaceful, the water is still on the top, no disturbance. So child's life is also like that. Very smooth, child is happy in his own way, he is doing things. But suddenly Just as a stone is thrown in that smooth lake, the adults come and disturb the peace in the child's life. How? By saying no. All the time it's no for the child. Don't do this, I don't want you to do this. Come and do a chord like I am doing. But child is different from the adult. So child has his own way of doing things. And once there is too much of stoppage from the adult side, then the child becomes disturbed. And if you will notice that all the fears, all the negative aspects in the child's character, they have their root cause in the age of 0 to 6. The young child is put under pressure, sometimes being frightened. बच्चों को डरा के ये चीज, don't do this, this will happen. So these are the things which affect the personality of the child. And as the child goes adult, nobody is without any flaw in the personality. Something is lacking in each one of us. Because God has not made any human being perfect. So, if you trace back, it is not the adults who develop the problems. The root cause is always in the young age, the 0 to 6 years age. So what the child will do? Child tries to struggle at that time. Child tries to do things as his inner need, his inner urge. But the pressure of the adult is so much that it cannot be done. The child is just made to survive in that limited breathing space. He is under pressure. The parents will give the best of everything which appears good to the child. Well dressed, well fed, but no internal freedom, no internal understanding. You have to understand the feelings of the child, his needs, his requirements, not to dress up the child just like a pretty doll or a pretty toy. It is more than that. Child has to be attended to, what he needs at that time. So for that, there were studies that what is the cause of the changes or the stress in the life of an adult. And when the psychoanalysis went on, the psychological research went on, they all were traced back to the young age. And mostly it was between the age of 3 to 6 years. Because before 3 years, there are no memories. Every memory that a person can have is between the age of, earliest memory is between the age of 3 to 4 years you can recall in your life. Other things you will come to know by the adults telling you that when you were 1 year old you used to do like this, when you were 2 years old you did this, these were your habits, these were your likes and dislikes. But you cannot yourself recall it. Same is with the pleasant incidents in life. Sometimes you are afraid of something. Sometimes you don't like something. But then you are under pressure. As a child cannot refuse and run away from that. So the conflict in the child's personality should not be exaggerated at that time. Parents and adults around the child should help the child overcome them. Because the example Dr. Maria Montessori gives is that if you observe anything, nothing is perfect. If there are diseases, then most people will survive, but few will die of any disease. Anything epidemic bursts out in your area, anything happens, and the example here, dengue, in the beginning, there were more deaths, but suddenly they were overcome by the adult because they understood the need of that. So same is with the problems which the child is facing. Dr. Maria Montessori says that the important thing is that first you should identify the problem. When there is any problem, try to understand why it is happening. What is the background? Why the child is reacting in this way? And for this she gives the example of a sample of water. You want to use any water for drinking. So you take a small portion of that and have it tested. We do not take the whole thing. It's not possible to take the whole. We take small sample from that. And that sample is tested. And when it is tested, the result will show you there is some contamination. There is something not suitable for the human consumption. then that is treated. Chemicals डालते हैं, आप जो भी उसको boil करो, जैसे whatever way of suitable, then you can use it. So the problem, if it is identified, it can be cured. But these are the things implemented by the adult for the things, not for the child. The child is their responsibility of the adults who surround him. Whoever is in contact with the child is in some way responsible for the growing up of that child, to have a good environment. Good environment is not just the clean environment, a well prepared room, but the feeling and the understanding. And at different times, Maria Montessori is saying that the children from the low income are much more independent, much more settled. And you will also see around you the servants from the maids, they are independent, they can go about, they will run about, they will do so many things which the children of the other families are not doing. They are overprotected. But the need of the time is to make the child independent. Do not let go of your child till the no. Maria Montessori says make the child independent, so no check and balance. You have to guide the child. We cannot just leave the child at any stage. But to understand the working of the child, to understand the needs of the child is important. Once you understand, once you come to know the cause of it, only then you can help the child. And then this chapter, Maria Montessori is again and again emphasizing how the adult can help in overcoming the conflict. Once the conflict is overcome, then the child will be able to progress much more, and that progress will come with time also. The physical aspect is going on. It is improving slowly and gradually. But the mental aspect has to be helped out. The adult should always help the child to overcome any problem, any stress. Take the child as a separate individual, as a human being who has his own likes and dislikes. And once you understand that, you will be able to guide the child in a much better way. So that was the conflict between the adult and the child. Child wants to grow up in a natural way, according to his inner urges, his inner needs. Child is by nature a quiet being who is on the road of progress. He is working for himself. Just as Ma'am Nazra told you, child's aim in life is self-development. He is not interested in maintaining the things, improving the things, while the adult is just working for the pattern, because each one is giving special attention in their own way. So do not challenge the authority of others. We have to work in harmony for the betterment of the child. Child is there, child is loved by everyone, and if the child at times is misbehaving, try to find out if he is using foul language, where he has picked it up. Child cannot invent those words. He has heard somebody saying. So instead of being harsh on the child, instead of scolding the child, try to find out that person who is using it. Discourage the child. Shouting or getting angry with the child is not the solution. Ignore it, dislike it, and openly show that this is not the thing which is expected from you. But if you do it yourself, then you cannot stop the child. So we have to maintain our own language in control, our way of working as a teacher and as a parent. Only then you will be able to resolve the conflict between the adult and the child, and the result will be a happy, healthy, active child. Thank you. The next one is a very interesting topic, Instinct to Work by Ma'am Asma Naeem. Ma'am Asma.
Assalamu alaikum and a very happy good morning to all of you. And maybe you will be meeting me in the next year, inshallah, the end of January. So in advance, आप सबको बहुत बहुत नया साल मुबारक हो. ठीक है? अच्छा, now actually these topics, what Ma'am Nazra told us about and what Ma'am Meher told us about and what I will be telling you about, they are all interrelated. Actually, they are very much, you can put them together. And like I was talking to Ma'am Nazra, I said कि अब जो है ना दिमाग हो गया, saturated हो गया. So if somebody asks me to go by the book, that becomes very difficult for me because I cannot retain so many things. And there's so many interesting things in the book that I want to tell everything. But unfortunately, वो सारा कुछ drip हो जाता है. I cannot retain. But I can relate it with my daily examples. Like, luckily I am teaching the smaller children and that gives me an edge. I'm able to understand the children better, and then I'm able to understand whatever is there in the book. I compare it and I understand it better, and then I'm able to convey it to you as well. So there was a very good example that Ma'am Meher gave me, and all of us, to you also. The child is like a very quiet stream of water. So I was going through the chapter, I was unable to make it out. But when Ma'am Meher told me, I was listening as well. So I was really happy that she made it so clear, so beautifully, very simply, that child is like a quiet stream of water, flowing very smoothly without disturbing anybody until and unless he is not disturbed. What happens? We throw a stone and that creates a ripple. Circles of water you can see. So that disturbs the whole routine of the child or the mindset, or he is upset. So that was a very beautiful example given. Thank you very much. Now coming back to my topic, that is the instinct to work. First of all, you all have to think yourself and to ask yourself whether we understand the meaning of instinct. Instinct, your behavior, what you tend to do, alright, what you're capable of, what your aspirations are. That are your instincts. And every human being and every animal is endowed with certain instincts, certain behavior patterns. We all have certain behavior patterns. Humans have certain behavior patterns and animals also have certain behavior patterns. And some patterns are transitory. They end. When they fulfill a purpose, they end. So, looking at the child, we see and we say that the child has instinct. There are kinds of instincts, and then the child has tendencies also, and then the child has behavior patterns also. So before 19th century, like in 18th century, 17th century, as you keep going back, we will witness that our society was not a civilized society, talking in terms of the child's rights or his social status. Everywhere the child was ignored. He was considered as extra social, eliminated, an alien, an extra being. He was not considered as somebody to be taken as important. The child was only a liability. Up till now, our children are liabilities upon us. They are our responsibilities. Whereas their emotional and social aspects are not taken into account. We do not consider them. Their social development and their emotional development. Up till now, we do not take them into account. So while I was going through the book, so I thought, what if I tell you the same thing what is written in the book, that before 19th century, the science and technology had not made such advancements. And particularly when Maria Montessori talks, she talks only about the child. Whereas before that, everybody was talking about the adult. And whatever the researchers were going on, we always concentrated on the adult species. Nobody considered the new being, the child. All our focus was on the adult. So Maria Montessori says in the book, The Secret of Childhood, that in the 19th century, there were some observations and there were some advancements taken. But when I sat down and I thought that that was 19th century, that was 18th century, but if you look at the present, you will come to know that the scenario is same. At some level there have been some changes, but 95% of the scenario is same. What Maria Montessori did, she made some revelations. She revealed the nature of the child. She told us about the sensitive periods, the tendencies, things like that, that we all know by now. How many sensitive periods are there? 7. Somebody says 5, somebody says 6, somebody says 7. Everybody is right. Nobody is wrong. So there are sensitive periods. And then there are tendencies also. So all these things that were discovered, observed, researched by Dr. Maria Montessori and other educated, literate people also, the scientists, they also helped us in finding out the children. And what Dr. Maria Montessori did, she discovered the child. And she helped us, she helped the child. And she just literally begged all of us to please come forward and understand the child and help the child. Not only understanding the child will help, but practically we have to help the child. And she says, before all these natural instincts, the tendencies and the sensitive periods were discovered, we were unaware of the psychological life of the child. There are two terminologies that we come to hear about. One is the physical embryo and then the other is the spiritual embryo. The physical embryo is like when the child is born, he is complete in a physical form. His limbs are formed, eyes are there, nose is there, ears are there, everything is there, except few things that grow accordingly. So at a glance you can say that this is a physical embryo. But when you look at his mental life, when you look at the mental life of the child, that has started, that will start. The moment the child is born, he is like a spiritual embryo. That means that his mental life is developing. Only the physical life had developed. As the child is born, his psychological, that means the mental life will start developing, and it will develop with the mean of a very purposeful environment. The environment which provides him with all the stimuli which is necessary for his personal life, his personality, his mental personality. And then she says, to do that, something is very important, and that is the relationship of the individual and the environment. If there is no relationship of the environment with the child, then there will be no freedom, then there will be no development, mental development. And now we come to know that the environment is the factor which is very important for the child as well as the adult. What does the adult do with the environment?